Sony a7IV and the Sony FX30 are both $2,000 cameras. They both shoot 4K and they're both made by Sony, built for filmmakers. But after running both side by side at weddings for a full year, I can tell you exactly which one ends up in my hand 90% of the day. And it might not be the one you'd expect. What's up? My name is Ro Gallagher. I run two businesses. One is for business commercial work and the second one is for wedding videos. And in the past, I've worked for University of Alabama football team. So yeah, let's hop right into it. So if you're trying to decide between the Sony a7IV and the FX30 for wedding videos, this video is gonna save you a lot of time and money and a whole lot of second guessing. So context, I'm a solo wedding filmmaker. I own both cameras. I shoot with both at every single wedding. So instead of pulling up the specs, I'm gonna walk you through the real pros and cons I've actually ran into on a wedding day. And at the end, I'll give you my honest take on which one to buy. Let's start with the a7IV. This is my main camera and here's why. Low light is the biggest reason by far because you got wedding receptions are dark, like really dark, and the a7IV handles it. I can push the ISO and the image still holds up. That alone is why this camera lives in my hand for the entire reception. Autofocus is rock solid. Honestly, the autofocus on both cameras is really similar. I wouldn't pick between them based on the autofocus alone. And then there's a feature I don't see people talk about enough, and this is that APS-C crop mode on the a7IV. I can hit a button on the a7IV and it instantly turns my 24-70 f2.8 into something that acts like a 24-105 f2.8. So in a tight ceremony space where I literally can't move, that's the extra reach is huge. Now the downside. The big one is 4K 60 has a crop. So if you want a true full frame look at 60 frames per second, this isn't it. I just leave mine at 4K 24 frames per second all day and I avoid the issue entirely. And sometimes I use it and sometimes I don't. It's up in hand, but most of the time it's in 4K 24 frames per second. It's also a little heavy. Once you rig it out with a cage, top panel, monitor, V-mount battery, can get a little heavy, but after a full day of shooting, it can get a little heavy. It's a lot for most gimbals, and in a 10-hour wedding day, you definitely feel it. And one thing that's generally drives me crazy is the no tally lights. So, the FX30 has the recording lights on it, so you always know whenever it's recording. Let's say you have it rigged up and you can't see the screen, you don't know if it's recording or not, and that can be a real big pain. There's no red light on the front to confirm to me or to my couple that it's actually recording, which brings me to the FX30. The FX30 is my B cam and it is perfect for that role. First, it's small enough that it lives great on a gimbal. That's mostly what I use it for. The slow motion 4K 60 is what I always keep it on. Tally lights, the FX30 has them front and the back, lit up bright whenever it's recording. Big thing on my end. So when I have it on a tripod for the ceremony and I glance over from across the room, I can see instantly that it's rolling. The peace of mind as a solo shooter is massive. Also, the fans, the FX30 has active cooling, which means I can let it sit on a tripod and record an entire ceremony without ever worrying about it overheating. The Sony a7IV does not do that confidently. Also, it's a video first camera and you can tell. The menus, the buttons, the dual base ISO, everything about it is built for filmmakers. And because it's APS-C, all your full frame lenses get an extra 1.5 times reach. So my 7200 turns into a 105-300, and that's a dream for tight shots from the back of the venue, which is what I mainly use it for. But this is a big but for weddings, okay? Low light. Past ISO 2500, the FX30 starts getting grainy pretty fast, which means for dark receptions, it's just not the camera I want in my hand. Also, the 1.5 times crop also cuts both ways. The reach is great, but you lose the wide end and the bokeh isn't quite as good as the full frame. Battery life is decent, not great, but decent. So here's my honest take. I had a dark reception last year, and after the wedding, I went back and compared both footage from both cameras side by side. The difference was pretty obvious. Sony a7IV pulled pretty clean images out of a pretty dark scene, and the FX30 footage was almost unusable, which in professional grade work, I want the best image that I can have, and that's when I knew that the a7IV is the camera that I would grab 90% of the time. Now, if you do any photo work at all, even a little, you have to get the a7IV. It's a hybrid, and it's a great one. But even if you only shoot video, I still think the a7IV is the better buy for weddings. The low light performance alone is worth it, in my opinion. If I could only bring one camera with me to any wedding, it's always the a7IV. Always. Now, that doesn't mean the FX30 is bad. It's amazing at what it does. It's my B cam for a reason. Here's how I actually run both at a wedding. The FX30 goes on a tripod for the ceremony. Fans on, tally lights, confirming it's recording. I don't really have to babysit it, which is great. The a7IV lives in my hand, rigged out, running gun coverage. It's my A cam from start to finish. So when I want slow motion shots, it's usually on a camera strap around me, and I can just quickly switch to my FX30, get some slow motion shots, and then go back to my A cam. So that's the workflow. That's why I bring both to weddings. If you're choosing between the two and you're shooting weddings, get the a7IV first, honestly. It's the camera that does more in more situations, and the FX30 later whenever you're ready for a B cam. That's my honest take, and after a full season of using both, thanks for watching. Peace.